I'll introduce myself first. My name's Helen Hamer, and I'm working currently in New Zealand, in Auckland, and my background is mental health nursing, and I'm currently doing some work as an independent contractor. I'm involved with primary care development, primary care, joining up mental health services with primary care, but also I do some research and some writing for Perch around citizenship. Citizenship was the topic of my doctoral thesis, so I've been able to connect with people at Yale, which has been really good. So, and my colleague Deborah and I have worked together for approximately 15 years now.
Yeah, sounds true. Yeah. And I'm Deborah Lampshire, and I have a joint, I'll call it a joint position, it's easier to explain. I've got a joint position. I work 2 days a week for the university. I'm a professional teaching fellow with the mental health team, and predominantly what I do is teaching with the both undergrads and postgrads. And my role is essentially to teach from a service user perspective. That's primarily what I do. I work for Auckland District Health Board, which would be, I don't know what the equivalent would be.
It's a public system.
The public health system as well. And there I'm a service user educator. But what I do there is I run hearing voices groups in the public sector for all clients who use Auckland District Health Board services. And also I through the university, I go out and teach other DHBs and mental health practitioners on working with voices. So I suppose my specialty field is voice hearing and psychosis would be the areas that would be of special interest to me and is my particular expertise.
As I said before, we've worked together for probably 15, maybe 20 years. Deborah and I have worked in what we call the Consumer Clinician Alliance. So that means we work together. We've done a lot of training of staff on the recovery competencies. So New Zealand wrote the recovery competencies back in 1998, and they were then mandated by our Ministry of Health, 10 competencies, and we were required as practitioners to embrace those competencies. So Deborah and I did some teaching, and we've done that internationally as well. So we've done quite a lot of that teaching. And then, of course, with the voice hearing groups, I and other clinicians have worked again to demonstrate that Consumer Clinician Alliance, so that it was quite innovative, we thought at the time. I'm not sure if anybody else is replicating that, but certainly it shows the partnership between the voice of the service users and giving that some credibility to start with, because often the voices of the service users are not as loud as the clinicians. So that's been our philosophical approach to teaching recovery and supporting the development of other peers, and coaching other peers to do similar work with us too.
What was innovative, and it's so long ago I don't even think about it now, but what was innovative about it then was I'm a non-clinician. Okay, so I'm just a service user as such, but I was put in charge of the project. I developed, we developed it together as such, but essentially I led the whole thing, the interventions, all the sort of techniques that were being taught, all the approach itself, and like Helen says, the philosophical foundation was all based on experience. And that's what made it innovative. And from that also I was the lead facilitator in that. Helen was just the handmaiden. So many others.
I was the token clinician.
Yeah. It keeps them happy. And but there was also initially the idea of what we would do is we would develop people who would graduate and be able to run the groups, pair them up with other clinicians who would run the groups within the services as well. And that's initially how it sort of started and how it began. And I think that's what the innovation was. But we did experience later on with a change of government. I went from having a team of 12 to me when we had a change of government.
I think that's probably something historical that would be really good to talk about in terms of New Zealand at one stage was seen as being the leader in recovery. We had the first mental health commission, the first mental health commissioners that had lived experience. And as Deborah said, over a period of time, there was a change of government, which was more kind of a conservative, socially conservative government, neoliberal approach, which meant that the voice of the service user diminished considerably. And I think we're still having to catch up for that now in terms of most recent re-election of a more socially progressive government, who the first thing they did was last year was to do a review of mental health services and addiction services in New Zealand, and we're awaiting for the minister to make announcements